to be the king.
Hail to the king, baby.
The king has returned.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Do or do not. There is no try.
What's in the box?
If it's a severed head, I'm going to be very upset.
So this is the King of Physical Media, and I am back for the first time in a long time with yet another VHS haul.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
And we're also going to be doing a P.O. Box opening as well. If you're wondering why I haven't been doing VHS hauls like I was doing in the past, well, I'll tell you. I really do love doing these videos. They're actually some of my favorite to make. But I am getting a little limited as far as space goes for my VHS collection. So I just have to be a little bit more selective about the VHS that I intend to buy. So you might not get as many of these videos as we used to do. Instead, I'll accumulate a sizable haul over time and do one of these videos every month or so. It should be noted that this particular haul is dedicated to my dad. In fact, he's the one who came upon a large collection of VHS and donated them to the channel. And then I just kind of went through them and picked out the best titles. I'm actually very excited about this particular haul because it features several of my holy grails or titles that were on my most wanted list. I hope you're excited about that because as a tape head, I know I am. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get right into this month's haul.
Damn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
So first up, we have Speed 2 Cruise Control. I know what you're thinking. Why would you be excited about Speed 2? It's pretty much a terrible sequel to a great action movie. And no Keanu Reeves didn't exactly help it. But this movie is kind of a running joke for me, so I was happy to have it for that reason alone. Up next, we have Money Train, starring the one and only Blade, Wesley Snipes, and the soon-to-be one and only Carnage, Woody Harrelson. These two have such great chemistry together, and even though this movie isn't as good as White Men Can't Jump, it's still pretty enjoyable.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Up next, we have another lackluster sequel. This is another 48 Hours. This one also has the rental plastic slipcover over it. I'm obviously a huge fan of the original 48 Hours. I mean, I use a clip of it to finish out every single one of my videos. But this particular sequel definitely missed the mark for me. I'm still happy to have it because let's face it, even some bad movies from back in the day are better than modern day movies.
That makes sense.
I'm kind of a nerd for finding alternate covers of movies that I like. I have several different covers of this next movie, and this was one of the Wizard of Oz covers that I've actually never seen before. This movie just had so many different releases, and it's actually one of the only musicals that I like. Up next, we have Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. I guess I could call this a guilty pleasure of sorts, or a Cathouse if you're familiar with my rating system. This movie's nowhere near the quality of the first two Terminator movies, that goes without saying, but I still find it much more enjoyable than some of the more recent Terminator movies we got. Dark Fate. Excuse me.
Why do you cry?
Up next, we have Ang Lee's Hulk, a very strange adaptation to the Incredible Hulk comics. It's like a weird art house version of a Marvel movie with hulking poodles, of course. One cool thing about it, though, it does have these cool comic book inspired panels where they show montages of different scenes in the movie. Up next, we have Rambo 3, probably my least favorite Rambo movie, or maybe it's Last Blood. I have this movie in a sealed Rambo Trilogy box set, but now my loose Rambo Trilogy collection is complete.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
I also got Gremlins, and this is another alternate cover. Like I said, I'm a fan of those for movies that I enjoy. But Gremlins is one of my favorites, and it's a must-watch every single Christmas for me. Speaking of Christmas, I have the obscure Home Alone 3. It's definitely not better than the first two movies, like Roger Ebert says here on the cover, but I didn't necessarily think it was terrible either. Then again, I haven't seen it in a long time. It's been a while since I talked about my buddy Kurt, but this is one of his underrated thrillers. This is Breakdown.
Never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes.
I'm just a sucker for stories that have characters stranded in the middle of nowhere. Any situation like that, and I'm instantly invested in a movie. Real quick, I also got another blockbuster cover. The movie is actually Police Academy 6, but that's really irrelevant because I just pick up anything that's blockbuster related. Here's something that you don't see every day. This is an episode of the 90s Flash TV series. This is Revenge of the Trickster, starring Mark Hamill as the Trickster, even though you can't see him because this price tag is covering his face up. I have very vague memories of watching this as a kid, but I do think it's a big reason why Flash is one of my favorite characters to this day. Next, I have more obscure things that I watched as a kid. This is 2 volumes of Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling cartoon series. I feel like this series doesn't get talked about a lot. One of the episodes I really remember, and it's actually on one of these tapes, it's where Hulk Hogan and Nikolai Volkov go and rescue astronauts that are stranded in space. I was actually a pretty big Hulkamaniac when I was younger, so I watched this quite a bit. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, I also have Suburban Commando. This was a video store rental special for me. I actually never owned this movie, but still watched it all the time. It's a terrible movie, but it does have, of course, Hulk Hogan, and it also has Christopher Lloyd and Shelley Duvall in it, and a very early cameo from The Undertaker before anybody knew who he was. Just a little tidbit for some of those wrestling fans out there.
Rest in peace.
We also have Robocop 3. Again, probably my least favorite Robocop movie, but also my Robocop VHS trilogy is now complete. I have to admit, I do have the action figure from this movie where Robocop has a jetpack. I also found this, which is kind of rare. It's Robocop Dark Justice. From what I could gather, this was a made-for-TV movie that was under the banner of Robocop Prime Directives. So there's a couple different movies under that banner. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I'm a big Robocop fan, so this was a must-pick-up for sure.
I'm having trouble.
Up next, we have Die Hard 2, Die Harder, which might be the best title ever. This is essentially the first Die Hard movie again, in a different location, but nowhere near as good. But it's still very much enjoyable, and again, I now have a complete Die Hard trilogy on VHS. This is part of the reason why this haul was so good. I'm finding a lot of the movies that are completing the sets that I've been looking for since I started collecting again. Okay, now we're getting into Holy Grail territory. First up, I found Ghostbusters, but in a golden clamshell case. I don't ever recall seeing Ghostbusters in a case like this. But Ghostbusters is one of my favorites, and a variant like this was just too good to pass up.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria!
Okay, up next I have not one, but 2 versions of Jaws. This is another one of my favorite movies, obviously. First up, we have this special collector's edition version with an interview by Steven Spielberg. And more importantly, I finally have this classic version of the Jaws cover. Something I've been looking for since I started collecting again. All I had was this fancy shiny cover that's right up here. This is such an iconic case, and this was the version that I had growing up as a kid. This one's definitely going up on the wall to get displayed for sure.
A what?
I also found another VHS that was on my most wanted list. It's Mortal Kombat 1995. My love for Mortal Kombat was reinvigorated when I reviewed this movie a few months back. I've since gotten into buying shirts and action figures and everything that I could find that was Mortal Kombat related. This is without a doubt the best video game movie ever made, and I definitely needed it for my collection. Okay, to finish this all off, I have what I consider to be 2 of my favorite trilogies. First up, I have the Back to the Future trilogy box set. Up to this point, I only had the first Back to the Future on VHS. This box set is an absolute collector's dream. It's almost in perfect condition. I grew up on and I love all 3 of these movies, and it really is a perfect movie trilogy in my opinion.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
And last but certainly not least, these 3 movies were very high on my list. I've even talked about one of these movies being in the top 3 most wanted VHS for me. But lucky for me, I picked up the whole movie trilogy. That's right, I now own the entire Mad Max trilogy on VHS. First up, of course, we have the original Mad Max with this awesome cover art. I find it hilarious that it says right here, it's the thrilling predecessor to the Road Warrior, because most people in America actually saw the Road Warrior first and didn't realize that Mad Max was actually the movie that came before it. They actually changed the name of the second movie when it's released in America because nobody in America knew what Mad Max was. I'm doing these out of order, but there's a reason for it, I promise. This is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, aka Mad Max 3. This is such a visually interesting movie, and I think a lot of post-apocalyptic movies were actually influenced by this movie. George Miller is an absolute genius for the way he built the world in this franchise. And finally, we have my official Holy Grail find. It's the Road Warrior, of course.
You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
Words can't express how important this movie is to me. I have vivid memories of seeing this movie at a very young age, and it made a very huge impact on me. In fact, I'm a big fan of the post-apocalyptic genre, and I think this movie has a lot to do with that. Another more personal reason why I like this movie so much is the first time I saw it was with my uncle, who passed away just a few years back. So my connections with it run deep, and a lot of my tastes in movies were influenced by members of my family. It's such an awesome and unique movie, and it never gets old to me. And this is even the specific cover that I wanted, so everything worked out perfectly. And that'll do it for the VHS haul. Now we're going to go into a P.O. Box opening.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Before I get into some fresh boxes like this, I have to go back and shout out my previous P.O. Box haul, which I actually filmed a video for, but when I had issues with the camera, it all got erased, unfortunately. Most of it was from my buddy Kane Crow, so shout out to him. He's been really amazing with sending me boxes and boxes of VHS to go through, which is probably one of my favorite things to do of all time. I am the king of physical media, after all.
It's good to be the king.
Now, I'm not going to go through everything because this was actually a very massive video that I ended up losing. But one of the major things that I got actually wasn't a VHS. It was this notebook that actually looks like a clamshell. Of course, it's Return of the Jedi, and as you can see, it looks very much like a clamshell VHS case. Even when you open it, on the first page, it looks like a VHS. The rest are just empty pages that you can write into your heart's content. I thought that this was one of the coolest things I ever seen, so I just wanted to shout out Kane Crow for that one, and I'm actually going to be opening yet another haul from him today. The other person I want to shout out real quick is Action Customs. I actually opened his P.O. Box on a live stream I was doing. He was there watching, of course. I don't normally do that, but in this particular case, I just wanted to do something a little bit different. But I just wanted to quickly show what he sent me in case you weren't there for the live stream. He sent me a NECA Freddy Krueger. Everyone knows I'm trying to catch up on my horror NECA collection, and I'm slowly but surely doing so thanks to all your help. He also sent this SH Figuart Stone Cold. Stone Cold Steve Austin was my favorite wrestler growing up, and he remembered me saying this and sent me a figure accordingly, so that was definitely very cool. I also got these two Jurassic Park Amber Collection figures. One is John Hammond, and one is Ellie Sadler. This has really got me into the idea of picking up the Amber Collection figures now. And last but certainly not least, I have to show this off on a regular video. He also made me my own personal Real Shift action figure, complete with movie clapboard. I have to say, growing up as a kid who was obsessed with action figures, it was always kind of a fantasy of mine to have an action figure of myself, and Action Customs made this come true. So I greatly appreciate that, and I wanted to shout him out properly on a video. Okay, now moving on to this week's P.O. Box openings. This one doesn't have a name on it, but it's from Canada, so this might be the first international package sent to the channel. Open this bad boy up. This is well packed. Jeez, it's a box within a box. It's Boxception. No way. Guys, I can't believe this is happening right now. This is crazy. I can't believe it. So, as I just mentioned, I've been collecting the NECA horror figures. And for some reason, and people were giving me a hard time about this, Michael Myers, who is my favorite slasher, is the only one I didn't have. That is until now. This person didn't send a note or anything, it looks like. So if you sent this, please let me know in the comments down below if you watch this, because I definitely want to thank you properly. But this person sent me the ultimate Halloween Michael Myers from NECA. I'm actually speechless right now. This is probably my most wanted figure right now. I've been scouring the internet trying to find one at a relatively reasonable price, because anyone that knows, if you let these NECAs hang around too long, people like to jack the prices up on them. And now I have one. I'm actually speechless right now. I don't even know what to say. Just whoever sent this, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. This is really, like, just the fact that people were paying attention to me enough to realize how much I wanted one of these, and then for someone to go out of their way to send it to me, it's honestly humbling. It really is. So thank you very much to whoever sent this, and please let me know who you are in the comments down below, because I have to thank you properly, because this is just amazing. You just made the spooky season that much more better for me.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart.
Let me know what your favorite pickup was in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Right on.